Why not try something smart to chew on? The Lunchroom on RCI, Monday to Friday, 12:45 to 2 p.m. The Lunchroom, informative, enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI, food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International for Monday the 19th of January 2026. And of course, you can get us on 101.1 FM radio. But in addition to that, we're also streaming live on Facebook. You just have to search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International and be sure to like and share that link as well with your friends and family. And if you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, the number to do so, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And we're also available via our WhatsApp platform. That number, 284-6001. Again, 284-6001. You can message in or call in to that WhatsApp number. We want to send out some birthday greetings for today. And first to Miss Owena Dide. Happy birthday to you, Owena. And we do hope that you're having a fantastic birthday celebration. And also to Miss Jamie Shitoli. Happy birthday to you. Wishing you a fantastic birthday. A look back in time. On this day in the year 1883, the first electric lighting system employing overhead wires was built by Thomas Edison, and that began service in the town of Roselle in the state of New Jersey. 1966, on this day, Indira Gandhi was elected India's first female prime minister. And in 2013, on this day, calcium deposits were discovered on Mars by NASA's Curiosity rover. We now move on to our dish of the day.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
Welcome back to our program for this Monday, a brand new week. And of course, over the weekend, we got word coming out of Barbados. And that is that Barbadians will be heading to the polls on February the 11th, Wednesday, February the 11th, less than a month away. And of course, that announcement coming from the island's Prime Minister, Mia Armour Motley. And she has been perhaps one of the most successful Barbadian politicians or prime ministers to date by mere virtue of the resounding margins of victory that she has been able to achieve thus far when she has headed to the polls. She's won twice, and she is in fact looking for another opportunity to serve as the 8th Prime Minister of Barbados. She has, in fact, been serving since the year 2018, when she assumed office for the first time as Prime Minister. She had previously served as leader of the opposition for the Barbados Labour Party, which at that time was in opposition, coming out of the period of Frondell Stewart, who was Prime Minister of Barbados, and before that, David Thompson. Both of those coming out of the Democratic Labour Party. The two main parties in Barbados, both considered Labour parties, the DLPs, the Dems, as well as the Bs, the Barbados Labour Party. She's looking for a third term, and she has, in fact, decided to call an early election. In fact, she last won back in 2022, I believe, when elections were last called. And so, in fact, really due sometime next year, but coming in pretty much a year early. And she's certainly looking to try to solidify her position. She's gotten a lot of accolades over the years, and international accolades at that. Uh, Certainly, she has been seen as a remarkable orator, and has given significant performances or speeches at the level of the United Nations, for example, and in other areas, to the extent that back in, I think, 2022, she was deemed one of the 100 most influential people of 2022 by Time magazine. And certainly, in fact, that's when she was just returned to office. Um, Other praises coming out of the United Nations Foundation, the BBC also named her at the end of that year, 2022, the BBC's 100 Women's list, as one of the most, as the world's one of the world's most inspiring and influential women for that year. And a similar type of praise coming out of the Financial Times, FT's 25 most influential women of 2022. The following year, Forbes listed her as one of the world's most 100 powerful women. And similarly, in 2025. So Mia Motley certainly carved out a very, very well respected international platform. But of course, all those platforms internationally depend on the vote domestically. And so certainly she will be looking to try to hold the fort in Barbados for another 5-year term. And so, of course, Barbadians will have to make that determination when they next go to the polls. As I mentioned, some significant margins of victory, pretty much a complete red wash, if you want to call it that, in the past, seemingly winning all the seats in Barbados. And so very historic wins for her thus far. And that certainly was the situation in the past two elections. So she's got lots of a pretty large margin of space to deal with in terms of going into the polls. I'm not sure that Mr. Thorne's Democratic Labour Party has been able to muster a significant amount of popular support. And perhaps that is exactly the thinking of Mia Motley in going again to the polls early, perhaps being buoyed by a significant amount of investment already ongoing within Barbados, especially in terms of tourism and real estate, and number of projects coming on stream there that may give some buoyancy to the Barbadian economy. Also, ongoing plans in terms of projects like the Grantley Adams International Airport being undertaken via a public-private partnership. Barbados was able to benefit recently over the misfortune of Dominica with Ross University setting up shop over in Barbados in the advent of Hurricane Maria some years ago. The other investments, very interestingly, investments in heritage and the creation of a genealogy center and museum and sorts at an old estate, looking at a place of memory, really focusing on heritage tourism in this instance. is also at play. Generally speaking, of course, Barbados has traditionally been more advanced, or the most advanced country within the English speaking Eastern Caribbean, to the extent, of course, that it at one point, in fact, shared a currency with the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. They decided to go at it on their own. And those days, of course, the thinking of individuals like Sir William Arthur Lewis that the little eight would pull together in the wake of the collapse of the West Indies Federation, when, of course, Mr. Bustamante went on their own with Jamaica, and Trinidad's Eric Williams declaring 1 from 10 leaves not. And of course, so the little eight of the Eastern Caribbean had to fend for themselves. And so they've taken and pretty much hedged themselves along a different path compared to the other islands of the or regions of the sub-regions of the Caribbean, the likes of Trinidad, Trinidad, Jamaica, and Guyana, the more developed parts, generally been looking at how they can industrialize, how they can. They generally have been more commodity-driven economies, whether it might be bauxite in the cases of Jamaica and Guyana, or oil and gas in the case of Trinidad, and now certainly in Guyana and other mineral extraction. That has tended to be what has attracted a lot of those larger islands. But in the case of the Eastern Caribbean, they've largely had to depend on services and to a large degree tourism as well as financial services. And so Barbados has certainly been buoyed a lot by those two sectors. And to a certain degree, of course, its general position during colonial periods as sort of the hub of British control in the Caribbean, and certainly in the Eastern Caribbean. And they have used that to some degree, to some advantage. A very large expat community, for example, of Brits continues to look to Barbados as a place for having second homes, and that has certainly buoyed their real estate market for projects like Sandy Lane, for example. And they've also, of course, depended on the matter of tourism. Of course, Barbados has also had a very strong human resource base, far more than a number of the other islands. So whereas in the 1800s, there was, most parts of the Caribbean, there were no schools. There were very, very few schools around. And Barbados already at that point enjoyed the benefit of having a substantial number of schools being established, both at the primary and secondary level. And so the education, the population on a whole tended to be more educated. And so that meant, and because they were seemed to be overpopulated, very high population density, it became a point of emigration to a number of other parts of the Caribbean, including St. Lucia. And so we had seen over the years waves of Barbadian migration, even during the post-emancipation period, a number of Barbadians coming across as teachers, others coming across later on in the south of Barbados to set up the sugar Barbados sugar company in the VA4 area to take over the factory down there. And so, of course, there is, to some degree, some more recent Barbadian heritage in the south of the island. And, of course, you see it certainly in the family surnames, the Harrows and Brathwaites and Holders and Haynes and so on, which we still have in the case of VA4 in particular. And of course, the tradition of the police service, the police force was another area where you saw not too long ago, maybe 5 or 6 decades ago, Barbadians also dominating certain areas um, within the government service in Saint Lucia. So, of course, even that, however, has not prevented Barbados from being part of the impacts of Trump's new wave of attempts at trying to clamp down on immigration, and they in fact are one of the 75 countries listed within this new decision to put a pause or suspension on immigrant visas to the United States of America. The all important green card, which many seek to gain sometimes, and that, of course, has been put on pause for the time being, and that impacts Barbadians just as it has impacted us in the Eastern Caribbean. Of course, Barbados being the home of the U.S. Embassy within the Eastern Caribbean, there was talk that other islands may very well see. Two other islands within the Eastern Caribbean may enjoy the benefit of embassies. But of course, we've seen a significant change in U.S. foreign policy. And so that would be very interesting to see if that is still part of the agenda of the Department of State at this time. So, of course, we'll have to wait and see how things pan out. But on the broader front, of course, in terms of the world at play right now, we are now seeing from Venezuela interest moving north to Greenland. And of course, lots being taken in. And this time, Trump taking aim at his relationship with respect to that of Europe. And could we possibly find a closer union of friends over the years? I mean, the United States of America was effectively built upon European colonization. It's built on European immigration. Later on, even after independence. And you look at the maps of the US, of course, a majority European population. You can sometimes, you may think, for example, if you look at these county-wide maps sometimes, which are generated of the most prevalent European ancestry that exists in the United States, and you might think it's coming out of the United Kingdom, but because they were traditionally the original established colonizers. But in fact, you may very well think that it's German, because you see for the vast majority of the Midwest and most of these counties out there, it's actually the largest group tends to be German, but a lot of others, of course, coming out of all parts of the out of Europe, whether it's Italy, whether it's Ireland, whether it's Scandinavia, it's there. And so this current situation that's playing out is most interesting. And some wonder, does Mr. Trump have any friends? And he has certainly shown that friends do not matter as much as business. And he has certainly taken aim on the matter of Greenland. And a very interesting post, which we can perhaps share on his X account, which came out, and it reads as follows: "We have subsidized Denmark and all of the countries of the European Union and others for many years by not charging them tariffs or any other forms of remuneration. Now, after centuries, it is time for Denmark to give back. World peace is at stake. China and Russia want Greenland, and there is not a thing that Denmark can do about it. They currently have two dog sleds as protection, one added recently. Only the United States of America, under President Donald J. Trump, can play in this game, and very successfully at that. Nobody will touch this sacred piece of land, especially since the national security of the United States and the world at large is at stake. On top of everything else, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland have journeyed to Greenland for purposes unknown. This is a very dangerous situation for the safety, security, and survival of our planet. These countries who are playing this very dangerous game have put a level of risk in play that is not tenable or sustainable. Therefore, it is imperative that, in order to protect global peace and security, strong measures be taken so that this potentially perilous situation end quickly and without question. Starting on February 1st, 2026, all of the above mentioned countries, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland, will be charged a 10% tariff on any and all goods sent to the United States of America. On June 1st, 2026, the tariff will be increased to 25%. This tariff will be due and payable until such time as a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland. The United States has been trying to do this transaction for over 150 years. Many presidents have tried, and for good reason, but Denmark has always refused. Now, because of the Golden Dome and modern day weapon systems, both offensive and defensive, the need to acquire is especially important. Hundreds of billions of dollars are currently being spent on security programs having to do with the dome, including for the possible protection of Canada. And this very brilliant but highly complex system can only work at its maximum potential and efficiency because of angles, meets, and bounds if this land is included in it. The United States of America is immediately open to negotiation with Denmark and or any of these countries that have put so much at risk despite all that we have done for them, including maximum protection over so many decades. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Most interesting post indeed, coming out of Mr. Trump. And it certainly speaks to a clear agenda that Mr. Trump has at play at this time to be able to take complete ownership of Greenland. Now, many have said, and this is an important point, that nothing is currently preventing the United States from actually having greater military presence within Greenland. And it, in fact, has had even greater presence in the past. There, in fact, right now, I think is only one military base in U.S. military base in Greenland, and that is the Thule Air Base. But in the past, they in fact had a number of military installations. And let's face it, we also know that there is no need for the United States to own a country for it to have military presence. The United States has the most bases of any country on foreign lands. In Europe itself, Europe is awash with military bases, air bases, defense posts There's been lots of cooperation in the past in terms of even missile defense systems, you name it. And these bases exist. And the same, of course, in the other major sphere of influence, that of the Pacific. And of course, thanks to that of Japan, and of course, in the wake of World War II, Japan became a very important location for numerous U.S. Military bases, whether it might be for air or naval or other operations. Even in terms of the that broad area of defense that exists, that kind of hems in China, which of course the Chinese are very concerned about, that of along their main coastal front on the eastern side, on the Pacific side. The United States has major assets in that area, in Japan, in the Philippines, all right, and of course it has great influence over that of Taiwan. And so those are very important for their ability, not for defense really, but their ability to project military strength around the world. And it's one thing, of course, they can do so to some degree of no doubt, because they've got right now the strongest naval capability, currently 11 aircraft carriers. Each of them, of course, has an entire group of support ships, destroyers, and others that provide capabilities there. But of course, there are limits. There are limits to aircraft carriers and what they can achieve. There are limited spaces, of course, physically, and they, of course, need maintenance. In fact, just today, I noted an article which was talking about the matter of the USS Gerald Ford, which is the most advanced aircraft carrier that the United States has. It was, of course, positioned in the Caribbean, last we heard, and being part of the overall operations in respect of the attack on Venezuela most recently, and the capture of President Maduro. And now that vessel has apparently been out from since June of last year. And the point being made, and the military people are saying, hey, these vessels do need downtime. They do need to come back to base because there's maintenance work that has to be done and systems that have to be checked, and people need a break. And so that is a factor there. So military bases and the presence of these bases in places like Europe, very, very important, not really for Europe and control in Europe, but certainly the ability for the United States to project itself into other parts of the world. So you need staging points. And so if you want to be looking at influence over the Middle East, Europe is important, or influence over these traditional Eastern Bloc countries, Europe is important. So the United States has far more military bases in Europe than it probably could ever have in Greenland. So the question is, what is this really about? Does it really have anything to do with that of national security, as of course it is being trumped up as this major national security matter? Mr. Putin, of course, has indicated that he also does not necessarily buy that argument that is being put forward by the United States regarding this great threat that supposedly his country poses for the United States. And of course, many have made that point as well, that this appears more to be a land grab, and a land grab that has a lot more to do with maybe the potential for future trade, if in fact the Arctic does continue to warm up, and to see that potential route open up, and also of course, the potential for mineral extraction. And that is, of course, a something that the United States has, however, benefited from over the years. The idea that it can, of course, claim more land through purchase. And the United States has done that. They were able to purchase Louisiana, for example, all the lands that were west of the Mississippi River that were originally that of France were purchased during the Napoleonic era, about 1803, for a pretty small sum of, I think, about $15 million back at that time. And of course, that really opened up the United States to the west, and of course, massive agricultural output that was achieved by getting into the Great Plains region, which had great soil for agriculture, for expansion of wheat and cocoa and corn and sorghum and what have you. So lots of gain as a result of that purchase. And then Florida was also purchased from the Spanish. Of course, the Russians were sought for the purchase of Alaska. And many of these deals, when you think about how much they were purchased for then, they were certainly major deals. Even when you factor in inflation, the 2026 estimated price for Alaska is not even $200 million US. Right, so remarkable deals for their time, and so this idea that the United States wants to purchase outright a country has happened in the past, but this has all happened in the colonial past. The last major purchase being that, I think, of the Virgin Islands, which was Danish, purchased to become now the U.S. Virgin Islands, and that was back in 1917. So it's been a while since countries have gone around purchasing other countries or selling countries. But this is the era that we are now in, and this is the mindset of the current president of the United States. Well, we're going to have to take a break at this point. That's our dish of the day, and we're going to take in our weather report at this time.
This has been the Daily Dish.
Island style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. Oh. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island style. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style. Oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island style.
We have times and insects, mixes and grow. Everything you need is on the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style car.
We got the time to make you go. Oh. We got the time to make you say, yeah. Quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Bellarosa, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewport Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style, Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And that's all, of course, on the 1.1. It's now time for your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Bath. For Solution Valley for the next 24 hours. Winds will be going from between the east near 21 miles per hour or 33 kilometers per hour. With occasional gusts. The weather fair and breezy. Occasionally becoming cloudy with a few showers. And there is an advisory in here which reads that small craft operators and sea beavers are advised to exercise caution due to brisk winds and locally rough seas. Forecast for Los Angeles, fair to occasionally cloudy skies and breezy with widely scattered showers. Finally, the weather summary: the Atlantic high pressure system will maintain moderate to brisk easterly winds and locally rough seas across the region during the next couple of days. Patches of low-level clouds drifting along the wind flow will produce some showers over the Los Angeles during the forecast period. And this was your weather forecast as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Back.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Island style. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island style. Whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style. Oh yeah. We make your dream come alive. In Island style.
We have tiles and princess pieces and ground. Everything you need is on the outside. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. Quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Belarus and Rodney Bay on the John Crompton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewport Highway. Call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style, Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Let's go to the phone lines at this time to take in some calls. Good afternoon and welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today? Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, caller. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. A healthy,
Wonderful.
peaceful, productive New Year to you.
Thank you
And
very
your
much.
family.
And many happy returns to you as well.
Okay, and also belated birthday.
Well, yes, thank you very much for that as well.
Barbados have a food party, you know.
A third party? Well,
Yes.
maybe.
It's headed by a British-born Bajan roots, and I think he'll be filling all the constituency. I would call it, yes.
All constituencies? Oh, really?
Yes. he
Okay.
will, yes. So
That's
there's a food party right now.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. We'll have to look
I
at
think
that.
he is a businessman. Whatever it is, they gave all his credentials.
We saw something like that in Guyana recently. Similar kind of situation where somebody from the diaspora was interested and whatnot. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm not sure how much an impact is going to make, especially given the long-standing, strength that the two other parties have had, the DLP and the DLP. So it's not to say that it's impossible, but it's for any third party coming in to a first past the post system, it tends to be pretty difficult, unless if they can somehow garner a lot of the support that may have existed amongst the opposition party. Maybe that's a possibility there, but we haven't really been able to see too many third parties come forward and be successful.
And isn't the present opposition was part of her government before?
The present opposition leader
wasn't he part of her government in the beginning, and he just switched over to become an opposition leader instead?
Oh, you're talking about Mr. Ralph Thorne?
Yes, yeah.
I think yes, you're right. I think he was part of the Bees until just last year. Yeah. So so he was, but I don't know that you've seen a large level of defection sufficient to be able to suggest that he's going to be able to pull it off. But yes. He was there before. And of course, we also have a St. Lucian who ran in a by-election.
Yeah, that's Brown. What's her name? Something Brown?
Yes,
Yes.
that's right,
Yes.
exactly. So it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out.
Yes.
In
Just we were listening and watching what's going on in the world,
mhm.
especially with Hurricane Trump,
Right.
causing so much chaos. It's
Well,
a, it's a wait and see game that I suppose we'll have to do.
yeah, and a lot of it is, people are asking, well, how much will he do? Well, is he bluffing? Is he not bluffing? Is he going to pull away? How big can he go? There are limits, no doubt, to even his power.
Yes.
And who's he going to try to? He's clearly tried to pick fights with nearly everybody, right? So it's whether it's the
Yeah.
Canadians, whether it's the Europeans, whether it's the Venezuelans, if you like, the Hispanics, Latin America, the Chinese, and in some instances he had to back down. So
I just listen. He just have there's some piece, some piece, whatever he's trying to put together. He as the chairman, I think, executive. But in order, you have to pay like $1 billion to be part of that piece. I think Tony Blair is one of the people on his committee. His son-in-law is one of about 5 or 6 of them.
oh,
But in order to get on that committee, you have to put forward $1 billion.
is that so?
And
Okay.
he will be managing the fund.
So it's a billionaires club he's trying to create. Okay. Well, always looking for a deal, eh? Yes, certainly. Yes.
Always looking for a deal. And when the deal doesn't taste sour, he's going to turn on you. But I just like listen, because what I don't like is the imposing on small islands, right, ourselves.
Mm.
Yes, because there's so much imposing. Like, you don't have much you can do or say, because all kinds of things will be put against you. And
right.
on top of that, to me, CARICOM not sticking together. They have been so quiet. There's not much coming out from them.
Yes, quite a few people have commented about that aspect. But we've seen from the moment we saw Kamla Prasad Besessa and Trinidad and Tobago seemingly embracing Mr. Trump's actions in the Caribbean Sea, and of course all of that going on, we already started seeing some, I guess, fissures perhaps in terms of Caribbean unity. And
I think they used Kamala, because when J.D. Vance made that comment in Washington, when he said crime in Washington was even worse now than it has been in Trinidad, I think that was a deliberate thing. And I think hearing something like that,
yes.
I mean, coming up from a vice president, I think that would put you on edge.
Right.
So I think they deliberately said that, knowing now he would have to kiss butt, do anything to please them, so that, I mean, I just think that was a comment just to get some kind of thing from her, some kind of reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think he played right into their hands. So, but I do not like the fact that, this is a part of CARICOM, and they don't divide it now, and they're so quiet, saying nothing much coming out.
Yeah, well, and let's face it, we have currently a Secretary of State who has never been, I don't think there's ever been a Secretary of State that could potentially be as interested as Mr. Rubio in Caribbean and Latin America affairs, and in particular Cuban affairs, right?
Yes.
So a lot of the important aspect right now in terms of even Venezuela and the interest in Venezuela is because that very strong relationship that has existed since Hugo Chavez and Fidel Castro between Venezuela and Cuba. Now that we're seeing what's going on in terms of Venezuela, a lot of it has to do with Cuba. So he's, I mean, it's a Cuban agenda at play, right? And Venezuela has been a really important supporter of Cuba. In their energy is largely coming out of Venezuela, right? And that is. And they've taken the United States has taken direct aim at that. So they're in fact they're directly affecting those oil tankers heading across from Venezuela to Cuba.
Yeah.
So
It's
Cuba is going to be
problematic,
is under a significant amount of strain right about now.
Yes, problematic.
And the big question is it going to be able to continue? Are they really trying at this point to get it to a point where people are going to be? I mean, the potential for blackouts is going to be very real. So already you have a very strained economy, a country that's suffering. The Cuba was leveraging very much its human resources. So programs that were sending out medical doctors and other professionals to be able to support development in other countries, but they were benefiting in terms of that relationship in Venezuela. Now, with that being put in the situation that is right now, it's going to be very, very, very difficult to see how things can continue there. Can Cuba find new partners within this, or stronger partners? I mean, they've had a lot of the hotels over there, for example, are owned by Spanish and Canadian companies. So are they going to find stronger partners? But it's I mean, the issue of the oil and energy is a major one right now for Cuba.
It's just things are wait and see game to see how things are going to play out. Because right now it's just so much, so much.
And you've got an individual, and I can tell you, if you he is looking to say, hey, I brought regime change to Venezuela. I brought regime change to Cuba. I have brought peace to Palestine and Israel. I'm going to be bringing peace. Well, I'm telling you, this is how it's going to be. No, caller, right? I'm bringing regime change to Iran, right? I've made it happen. And so he's looking very much to sell this time
to get the Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, maybe the Nobel Peace Prize, but maybe.
But the lady gave him hers already.
Well, I'm not sure that was approved. I don't think it's hers to give. But yeah, so he's gonna try very hard to say, hey, I have been successful. I have been able to deliver what no other president has been able to do for decades. I'm a man of action, and so we have to see how that all is going to pan out in respect of that, because he.
By the way, do you know that the footpath, the pedestrian footpath, is already been done?
Sorry, which footpath?
After you leave NRDF, realize there's a sidewalk there, but they extended it all the way. That's the footpath I was talking about when I did. Yes, so it's actually they have a good distance already. Yeah?
Okay.
So it's on.
So this is in which direction? Up the hill, or are you talking about along the Tapo Avenue going towards the schools?
Yeah, along the avenue taking you up to the road leading to La Panse.
To La Panse, okay.
Yeah, alongside the parliamentary rep office.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that's the footpath I was talking about all the time, because there was no footpath there, and it was difficult walking there, especially when on a Saturday. Most like cars coming down, cars going up, it was very difficult for pedestrians walking on the side there. So they put the footpath. In fact, Saturday night I walked on it.
Okay. Well, you have somebody listening very, very well to your pleas.
So then I was like, find the rep, because I did tell you that I'm happy that I hope there's a lot more listening when people are talking, saying things, and not because people just talking for talking's sake, but pay attention to what people say. They need to see if it's possible, and then they try to. Because I think sometimes very, very simple things, and basic things make people happy. People are quite pleasant, and a little bit troubled by the accidents we have in.
Yes, and that's very, very unfortunate, especially with the most recent one down in VA4. That is bizarre beyond words, right? But I suppose sometimes
it's sad. And the police will have to do a lot more must be done, because they had something where they have this song sung by Ricky T, and I don't think it made a difference
Mm.
to the driver. I don't think they listened. I don't think they paid attention. They even still the billboard way.
But caller, some people perhaps should just not be on the road, and
Well,
that's the
no, I
thing. I
think
mean, you've got
there were some of them.
you've got
I think
individuals who engage in reckless driving.
yeah. But some of that I think is in a raffle. They got their license,
Well, I don't know about that part, but they if they're going to be engaging in that kind, if you don't have a temperament, maybe not everybody has a temperament to drive. Some people have serious, maybe mental health issues, and they shouldn't be along the road.
But they're not being
engage in road rage.
They're not being made to pay the price for indiscipline and lawlessness on the road. That's the thing. They have not been made to. A strong message supposed to be sent to really let them know that you mean business. To me, nothing is being done. Every time like that, they came. They don't give a damn about anybody. The road, they drive the road as it belongs to them.
So as you said, caller, sometimes it's the little things, right?
Yes.
I am certain. Maybe look at the breathalyzer issue, right? That's one of the things that we do checks. We do traffic checks, right?
Yeah.
But it's a wonderful opportunity. Maybe we should be looking at, especially on weekends. Are we engaging in any breathalyzer traffic checks? Are we?
Nothing like that. Huh?
I mean, is it what's legislation? 1, 2. Of course, you need to get the equipment and the sensitization.
Well, I heard the commissioner spoke, for the Thursday when they're going to be taking road traffic and all of the things very, very, very serious. But I hope it's not by just saying that and it's actually going to happen. Because you cannot keep us saying things and then people are not seeing nothing being done. It's just like you just say things and then people are not really seeing any action being taken.
Yeah.
And the simplest of things, we should be able to stop what is happening on our roads. The simplest of things. It should be. People are not being made to pay the price for the way they behave on our streets, especially the very young ones. It's like they care less.
Well, like I said, some people perhaps should not be on the roads at all. But then again, you never know. The circumstances, you end up with situations, people driving illegally, they don't have their license. They're out and about. I mean, I don't know the circumstances when the last accident at which we, of course, unfortunately got captured so very clearly, but on video. But it's really should be a bit of a wake up for all of us to say, hey, have a chat with you. You may have a relative, a friend who engages in somewhat reckless driving. Just have that conversation. Say, hey, you should look at what just happened.
But do they listen?
They may not, but then people they can see the results. We can see the results, right? And then sometimes people do need to be reminded about the results. Reminders about and look, we do it for a lot of other things to make that appeal in terms of whether it's politics, whether it's whatnot, you get into social media, but that's where you need to engage in some sort of marketing. I know some
PSAs, a lot of them too.
Sorry, what is
a lot of PSAs?
Yeah, exactly. So to put out these
types
of reminders for people out there, can it fit into their algorithms to get them to remind them that they need to be a bit more careful behind the wheel, and it can come from a lot of different things. I mean, we've spoken a lot about alcohol, but it could be a lot of other issues. Use of cell phones, for example. There are a lot of potential distractions on the road. So,
maybe they put some billboards that would traumatize them. Because there was something I heard about in England. I think at a certain point there was this big billboard that showed you like a serious crash. So as soon as you reach that point, I think you stop, you look, that's what you would see in your face. And I mean, this alone, as a student, can have an effect on you. To make you realize the dangers of driving fast.
Yeah, so some of it is just, really inexplicable how some people engage in dangerous driving, and especially when persons are going long distances, you find that too. Sometimes they might be more keen to take those risks on roads that they deem to be more open roads, the Castries Viewfort Highway. But it's
this morning a gentleman called and he said he thinks they should damage the roads again because he thinks they get so many smooth roads. That's why they're causing accidents.
Oh boy, well, that's
someone said we damage the roads again, so they won't have.
Yeah.
So a few people cannot pay for just a few. People shouldn't be able to pay the price for just a few that are just reckless.
Yeah, it's a lot that has to happen. I mean, some people may argue it's the price for development. You get better roads, you get faster speeds, you get more serious accidents, right? And that's a major risk. Once you're going fast, it can be
okay. Then take care.
Okay, thanks very much, caller. Wow, I didn't realize we were on for such a long time with that caller, and but a very important issue. Certainly, the matter of driving on our roads and trying to remain safe. It's a common space that we all have to utilize, and that also goes for pedestrians. Right? That's there's a risk to pedestrians, and we don't have first world infrastructure. So in a lot of places, there are no sidewalks. You've got to exercise even more caution. And we also know some of the other things that impact it. We also maybe not think so, but the illegal parking or parking on a corner or parking in a dangerous place. So a lot of these things can lead to, vehicles having to veer into the other lane, and then it could end up causing an accident. So a lot of those things have to be, it really calls for all of us to take responsibility when we're looking at our safety on the roads. And so let's hope we can, as a country, in 2026, look at that in a very serious way in terms of trying to gain a level of support. And a lot of people can come on board, whether it's the taxi associations, the minibus associations. We don't really have any driving associations so much, but I do know that we have a number of motorsport associations that are active. And I was actually just speaking to a friend of mine sometime last week about the matter, and he was making the point, you know what, the people who are driving fast and reckless on the road, they're not the people who are into these motorsports. They know when to engage in those types of activities, and they're doing so within controlled environments, not on the public roads. So it is very, very important that we think about it. And then, yes, the truth is, you have young people out there. Young people are the ones who are going to be looking at taking risks. They're the ones who are looking for some level of excitement and entertainment. They want some, entertainment and excitement in their lives. And that's nice. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with being a little boring sometimes and staying safe on the roads. There's a place for excitement and entertainment. So if you want to be engaging in motorcycle racing or auto racing, join an association, join a group, do it the right way, but not endangering innocent people's lives, not at the expense of other individuals who are not calling it upon themselves. That's our program for today. And we do hope that you can join us again tomorrow for another program of The Lunchroom. I'm your host, Alex George Jr., saying goodbye.